Hi there, it's Michael V with episode number 3 of a 1951 Mercury lead sled project. For those of you that have been watching, here's a tease for you. Hey, notice the roof's off the car. That will be in a further episode. You'll have to stay tuned and watch for it. I needed to start on the interior, and I got a hold of some 300 ZX seats from a very close friend of mine, which I mounted to the floor. Next was the rear. Traditionally, lots of guys use 61 to 64 T-bird rear seats because they wrap around. I was able to find a set of these at the local Pick Your Part over here in Southern California. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time. It takes a lot of fabrication and bracketry to make these work. Here's a rough layout of the door panels using a Mercedes-Benz 60s style armrest. To take this to the next level, I farmed some of this work out to a guy named Ryan Cambra. He shaved the Honda door flipper handles and filled that in. Then he got a hold of the 53 DeSoto front bumper and shaved the bolts. So a nice smooth look here. Next, he turned his attention to the splash pan behind the front bumper and cleaned all that up along with the grill opening. You'll also see this guy's a metal artist in his own right. Look at the gaps. Everything's coming along beautifully. He also had to fix right underneath the hood. That piece that's underneath the hood there was all tore up. He straightened all that out. Just look at how clean this is. It's unbelievable. It's one of the best guys that I've seen do sheet metal in a long time. Look how Ryan even took the time to take the splash pan and wrap it around the front bumper so it's got the Frenched in look. Details, details. That's what's going to make this car in the end. Here's another view of the side of the bumper Frenched in. Look at this guy's true metal artwork. Look how smooth that is right underneath the hood where it meets the grill. Next, you're going to see real artistry. 1955 Oldsmobile headlights grafted onto the front fenders. They look like they're supposed to be there. Unbelievable. This is very traditional stuff, and this is how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look like it was there in the first place. I'm very happy with his work and can't wait to get the car back home. Here's another view of the Oldsmobile headlight conversion. And also note, look at the gap between the front bumper and the splash pan. Unbelievable. Here we are outside getting ready to load it up on the trailer. This car is being transformed right before our very eyes. If you also notice, you'll see 1953 Ford fender lips in the front that Ryan grafted on. Here's a front view. You're going to start to see how this car is really going to turn out now. Here's a side view profile of what the car is going to be looking like. It was well worth it to farm out work for guys that are as good as Ryan is. Take a look at these. You can really see how everything flows right into the trunk. This is how a true chopped Merc is supposed to look. Here's some rear 3/4 views and just rear views of the car. Yeah, it's going to need a lot of metal work, but it's a heck of a lot better than having a 1/2 inch of Bondo on it. Take a look at this. It's starting to come along. You're starting to actually see where we're going with this thing now. The side view in the sun really gives you perspective on the lines on the car. Well, let's load it up on the trailer and make the long journey home. I need to step up my fabrication skills. Once I got it home, I decided to do some front turn signals using a 1951 Ford shoebox turn signals. These are the housings that I made. I started out with a sphere and started drilling and cutting and welding and dicing and slicing. They ended up coming out really nice, especially with the chrome bezel. They're going to look like they're supposed to be there on the car once they're on. You'll see that in just a second here. Here's the final housings, all sanded and cleaned up and ready to go on the car. I also added the lenses just to get an idea of what they're going to look like. They look very traditional and they look like they're supposed to be on the car. Time for installation now. With a little bit of trimming, tacking, welding, and sanding, here's what you get. I think they're right, and I think they look correct. Everybody else does too. By the way, here's those 1953 Ford fender lips that Ryan put on the car for me, and in the lower side you'll also see the lights mounted. Now the design work is starting to get fun. Here's the grill opening that I started with. We're going to do some teeth, and we're talking some serious teeth here. When little kids see these down the road, they'll probably run when the car comes at them. These teeth were from a 1951 Ford pickup truck, heavily modified, welded, side-plated, and mounted. Next up was a little bit of hood jewelry. I found some 1949 one-year-only Mercury letters that go on a hood, and decided to put those in the hood so people would know what kind of car this thing was when it's coming at them. Most people shave this stuff off, but in the late 50s it shows they kept them in place. Here's what I ended up with the grill teeth, all metal finished. Both Ryan and Tim and Craig made me step up my fabrication game. I'm getting better at it. If you have a traditional chop-top car, you have to have a Frenched antenna. Here's how to do it. Start with a piece of tubing and baloney cut it. Weld up the bottom for your antenna mount and some drain holes. Get this thing ready to go and make sure that it's going to fit the fender. Go ahead and drill in the hole in the fender where you decide you want to put it. Tack it in place, check the antenna, make sure it's all square and straight up and down. Weld it all up and metal finish it. Bada bing, bada boom. There's your Frenched antenna. More details to tune with. You notice the gas tank filler door doesn't match the line on the side of the Mercury. It's pointing downwards. We can't have that. We're going to go ahead and fix it, clean it up, weld it up, tune it all up. Here's some pretty good pictures of how I did that. These are some of the final welds here, and you can see now the bottom of the gas tank door is match and parallel to the actual lines on the body of the Mercury. That'll do it for this episode.